and they'll meet Newry on the afternoon of November the 14th. Here are the highlights, starting with the finish. The unique victory wave of Lindsay McKeown signalled defeat for Glentoran by 5-4 in a penalty shootout. It brought to conclusion a match that contained much excitement for a crowd of around 7,000. And wave completed, McKeown was asked, does victory mean more when Glentoran are the opposition?
It's always nice to win the big two matches. We haven't won one for a long time. It's not a nice way to win, but I think if you ask any blue man in the morning, is it a terrible way to win, and I don't think he'd agree with you.
And there are plenty of smiling Linfield supporters today, but for a good deal of the first half in particular, there were few happy expressions, because Glentoran, marshalled well by Jim Cleary in midfield, could have scored enough goals to wipe any trace of a grin from the faces of optimistic blue men. Billy Caskey here, and Mullen just wide. Indeed, their fans, based mainly in the Spion Cop, had to wait for half an hour for an opportunity to vibrate their vocal cords. Fortunately, George Dunlop was in his usual athletic form, showing that over 30s aren't quite ready for the armchair. And wouldn't you know it, just a minute before the whistle blew for half-time, Linfield nipped upfield and scored. Burrows against the crossbar, and that man McGackie completed the unfinished business, his 18th goal of the season. After the break, Glentoran kept on pushing without doing any scoring, Bars setting up Mullen here. And Barney it was again, leading indirectly to another Mullen chance. But Bars was to have no further influence on proceedings following this clash with Paul Mooney. The unfortunate Bars left the field by that most unenviable mode of transport. But the exhibition of sheer skill you're about to see from Jim Cleary may have briefly perked him up. A great goal indeed, and that equaliser came on the stroke of full time. But there was more excitement before the full-time whistle. Linfield came so close to a winner. So another half an hour faced the exhausted 22, and Linfield sub Duncan MacLeod thought he had scored a second Linfield goal in the first period of extra time, but it was disallowed for pushing. And 5 minutes into the second period, Cleary had a chance to score for Glentoran. One each then after 120 minutes, and now the dreaded penalty kicks. Both teams scored 4 each, but Ray Morrison's kick was saved. Lindsay McKeown then stepped up for Linfield. Lindsay, how nerve-wracking a finish was that for you?
Well, it was unbelievable. Great atmosphere on the night, over the 90 minutes on the extra time. And I think it would have been more nerve-wracking if I had to take the penalty for us to stay in the competition.
Overall, would you say you might have been a shade lucky to win on the night?
I thought it was a good game, you know, end-to-end stuff. Both teams had periods of pressure, and I think probably a draw would have been a fair result. And as I said before, it's a terrible way to win the game.
You touched on the atmosphere. It must have been great for local soccer to see so many people here.
I just feel sorry for other clubs that don't play in front of crowds like this here, and I don't think there'll even be a crowd like this here at the international match, which is a great shame. And as far as the local players are concerned, it's absolutely